Shock Monkey Radio is created by adults for entertainment purposes. The views and opinions expressed here do not reflect the sponsors or FXPG Public Radio. For additional information, refer to the U.S. Bill of Rights. Stand warned. Do you know what the Goldilocks Zone is? The Goldilocks Zone is the space, an area, a distance away from any star where it's not too hot and not too cold. It's just right for liquid water to exist. All right? It's the Goldilocks Zone, or also called the habitable zone, which is and the reason why it's called the habitable zone is because it's an area on a planet. It's an area in which a planet could have liquid water flowing on its surface. And as you know, as Jesus told us, the water is the water of life. You know, and when it comes to looking for life in our universe, other than us, we have to look at planets with water, with liquid water. Now, the habitable zone can vary depending upon the star. All right. So in our habitable zone, we have the Earth. That's where we live. If you don't know, and it's not flat. It's not flat. It's very, very well. It's roundish. It's bumpy. Anyway, so this habitable zone, you got Earth, right? And you have all sorts of other things going on Earth, because there's all sorts of things that could go wrong, even if there was water on that planet that in the habitable zone. For example, it could be just at the edges of the habitable zone, and it would frequently have just all ice, mostly ice. You'd have seasons of all ice, but then it'd warm up. It'd warm up just a little bit, and you get a little bit of a trickle, a little bit of motion, and you could have life on that planet. Or it could be at the closer edge of the habitable zone, the Goldilocks zone. And it could be quite hot and steamy, and the whole planet is nothing but a swamp and jungles. And it's horrible. It's all like the equator. The whole planet is like our equator. Also, there's other things like volcanic activity. Volcanic activity on a planet, it could be too much. It could be too great. Spilling magma upon the Earth constantly, so that nothing can live, nothing can build, nothing can continue to live. It's awful. But you need a little bit of volcanic activity, a little bit of plate tectonics. All that goes to enriching the environment, enriching the surface, the soil. Volcanic islands have some of the most richest and lush soil that you can find on planet Earth. It's amazing. Every couple million years, the Hawaiian island chain farts out another island. A little bit of volcanic activity is good. It's good for the planet. And you know what else is good for a planet? A magnetic field. A magnetic field that takes so much of the sun's radiation and points it towards the North and South poles, which incidentally are covered in ice. And so a lot of humans don't live up that far north. And because of all this radiation that gets to be deflected, that has allowed life to flourish. And there's a low background radiation on the planet, just enough to cause mutation. Just enough radiation to help facilitate mutation. Mutation, as you know, in natural selection, helps a species improve over the generations, as you may or may not know. Also, there are other things like comets, asteroids, free bodies flying through the universe. They're flying all over the place. Nobody knows where they're going to land. Comets, asteroids, they could be hitting our planet at any time. They could come and wipe out all life on Earth at any time. But you know what? The sun has an incredible gravity, and so much, and pretty much everything in the system, everything in a star system, not only is birthed within the heart of the star, but is affected by its gravity, including Jupiter. And even Jupiter's gravity has been able to suck up some possible near misses on Earth. That's why Jupiter and Saturn have so many moons is because they picked up so many bodies along the way that could have been destined to an extinction level event on our planet. But instead, they got sucked up into the orbit of a big planet like Jupiter with high gravity. Or maybe they got sucked up into the sun's gravity or Saturn's gravity. And then we have this tilt of the axis. And this tilt of the axis was begun by the collision with what we now call our moon. And because of the moon hitting us, it's caused the Earth's axis to wobble. And because of that wobble, it allows us seasons. Seasons like fall, like the season we're in, my favorite season, fall. You know, if we didn't have that wobble of the axis, we would have just summer and winter. Maybe even neither. We wouldn't even know what seasons are. And so all of these things, all of this is a confluence of coincidences that has allowed a species to come up, evolve over the millions of years that Earth has been in this habitable zone with this perfect confluence of conditions that has allowed a species such as us to arise and look at it all and wonder, is it all just an accident that has happened? Is there some sort of design that has allowed all this to happen? The magnetic fields? Magnetic fields is what causes Mars to be dry. You know? The thickness of Venus's atmosphere is what causes it to be sweltering hot, and I think it rains methane. All right? And these are two planets that could be habitable if they had enough liquid water, if they had enough of a magnetic field, a thin enough but thick enough atmosphere. These are planets that could have been habitable planets, Venus and Mars. But Earth is the perfect confluence of events, and there has been no life that has sprung up on Venus or Mars, as far as we know, that has any kind of intelligence or perspective the way humanity has. Humanity is the only species that looks up to the heavens and wonders, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's mind-blowing to think that, like, how delicate a balance life is. And for millions of years, the conditions on this planet have been good enough to create us. And I'm sorry, that's just one of the arguments I have to make for creationism. I believe in intelligent design, and I think that the likelihood of that happening on Earth is so small, so infinitesimal, that it's hard to believe in any other possibility. There's probably billions upon billions of billions of star systems in the universe. Too many to count, obviously. But I guarantee you there's a very small percentage of them that have the perfect set of conditions to allow advanced life as advanced as us, as humanity, to live and thrive. I'm not saying there can't be dogs and cats and wolves and other smaller creatures on other worlds somewhere. Absolutely there could be. But it takes a very specific set of circumstances to end up at humanity. And I can't, for the life of me, I cannot look at it and say, what a happy little accident.